What exactly is a technological explosion? Here's the simple version. In 1903, humans had just figured out how to get a shaky little airplane off the ground. By 1969, we were already planting flags on the moon. That is not progress. That is humanity speedrunning the tech tree. It's like sitting in class while the teacher is explaining that 1 + 1 = 2. You bend down to pick up your pen, and when you look back up, the blackboard is covered in advanced equations for high-temperature fluid dynamics. You haven't even sat back up yet, and knowledge has already left the station at full speed. The 20th century was absolutely ridiculous for human development. Airplanes, rockets, nuclear weapons, computers, quantum mechanics, relativity. One breakthrough after another, like humanity had found the cheat codes. Even a confused chimpanzee sitting in the rainforest would probably stand a little taller after learning that its primate cousins had started studying the universe. Sure, I'm still eating bananas, but my relatives are calculating spacetime, so show some respect. But here's the funny part. At the beginning of the 20th century, the famous physicist Lord Kelvin basically thought physics was almost finished. In his view, the grand building of physics had already been built. All that was left were a few small details, a little polishing, maybe some fresh paint. Unfortunately, those small details turned out to be cosmic demolition charges. People thought Einstein had arrived to repaint the walls of classical physics. Nope. He showed up with a wrecking ball. He didn't gently renovate the building. He walked in, took a few swings, and started exposing cracks in the foundation. Then came relativity. Then came quantum mechanics. Classical physics went from luxury mansion to please evacuate the building immediately. So today, humans are much more careful about saying things like, we almost understand the universe. Because every time we think we understand something, the universe smiles politely and hands us another exam paper. Before we went to the moon, it looked like a plain gray ball hanging in the sky. After we landed there, we realized it wasn't just a gray ball. It was more like an unfinished instruction manual for the universe. The more we know, the more we realize how much we don't know. I used to wonder why so many online creators eventually end up selling products. Then I understood. When your influence reaches a certain level, some things just naturally evolve. Of course, it's not selling products. It's bringing exclusive benefits to the community. Very noble, very selfless, very conveniently monetized. Now, looking at the state of the world today, I can't say I'm extremely optimistic about humanity's future. But since we are humans, we can complain all we want and still secretly hope Earth civilization survives for a few more seasons. So here comes the real question. If technology keeps advancing like this, can it eventually make humans all-powerful? This is not just about how advanced technology can become. The real question is this: are there some things that technology can never achieve, no matter how far it develops? The answer is probably yes. Because some problems are not about technology being too primitive. Some problems are about the rules of the universe saying, no, you don't get to do that. For anyone who grew up watching Dragon Ball, you know the pattern. First, it's King Piccolo, then Vegeta, then Frieza. And you start thinking, okay, if you keep training forever, eventually you'll become the strongest being in the universe. Then later, they introduce Zeno, the guy who rules over entire universes. He doesn't even need to fight you. If you annoy him, he can just erase the entire universe with one casual decision. Compared to that, Thanos snapping his fingers feels like a dramatic sneeze. And that actually explains the problem pretty well. Some civilizations might become insanely powerful. You can imagine devouring civilizations, cleansing civilizations, alien super empires, all kinds of terrifying sci-fi nightmares. But no matter how scary they are still players inside the universe. If they ever run into the universe administrator, then the question is no longer, can you beat them? The question is, do you even have permission to exist? The administrator doesn't need a weapon. They just write a memory cleanup function, and every civilization gets deleted as a useless background process. A malware program can be annoying, sure. But can it turn around and uninstall Windows? Probably not. So even if humans one day understand every law of the universe, that still does not mean we can fulfill every wish. Some technologies sound beautiful. Some sound so useful you could cry. but they may simply be impossible under the rules of this universe. The first dream technology that would completely change daily life is real-world object search. Basically, when something disappears, you just call out to it, and it answers. Socks, where are you? I'm under the couch. If this technology existed, it would change civilization overnight. Let me ask a serious question. How many of you have actually worn out your socks and underwear normally? For me, their 6-month survival rate is below 60%. They don't break. They vanish. You search the whole room and find nothing. At some point, the only reasonable explanation is that a parallel universe is stealing your laundry. On a computer, finding something is easy. You just use global search, and the file appears in seconds. But reality doesn't work like that. When you lose something in the real world, your brain instinctively looks for a search bar. Sadly, we are just a bunch of small monkeys with smartphones. We do not have administrator access to the universe. So our only option is to open every drawer, lift every cushion, and turn the house into a crime scene. Apple made AirTag a while ago. And just to be clear, this is not an ad. I haven't used one, so if you ask me whether it's good, I have no idea. Because, as I just said, I haven't used one. The basic idea is that it uses Bluetooth and nearby devices to help locate valuable items. That sounds useful. But the problem is, not everything can have a tracker attached to it. You can put one on your keys. You can put one in your bag. But are you really going to put a tracker on every single sock? A lot of objects are too small to weirdly shaped, or simply not worth attaching a device to. And if you never had access to the object in the first place, then this method is useless. So if you want to search the real world the way you search computer files, you basically need the ability to control the universe. The second classic human dream is anti-gravity. This has been one of humanity's oldest fantasies. Before we even clearly understood the concept of gravity, the desire was simple. I want to fly. Later, we invented airplanes, rockets, and helicopters. But none of those are anti-gravity. Airplanes rely on aerodynamics. Rockets rely on thrust. They are related to anti-gravity in the same way a skateboard is related to teleportation. Technically, both involve movement. But let's not get carried away. Real anti-gravity means canceling, resisting, or escaping gravity itself. That sounds incredibly cool. The problem is that the theoretical foundation is still somewhere between unfinished draft and please don't ask. As we discussed before, something like anti-gravity might require negative mass, or the ability to manipulate the curvature of spacetime. But those things are not just hard to build. Even if aliens personally handed us the instruction manual, the best physicist on Earth might still stare at it like it was a magic spell. I recognize the symbols, but why does this look like Forbidden's wizard homework? Another old friend that often appears next to anti-gravity is the perpetual motion machine. Some people get very excited about this idea. A machine that needs no energy, moves forever, and keeps producing useful energy. That sounds amazing. A little too amazing. Less like science, more like making a wish. The first kind of perpetual motion machine would move forever without any energy input, while also outputting energy to the outside world. That is basically impossible. It's like not eating for 3 days, then being told to carry a giant water tank for 10 kilometers. Before you even start, your soul has already clocked out. The second kind of perpetual motion machine sounds a little more scientific. The idea is this. Can we absorb heat from the environment and turn all of it into useful energy? After all, energy cannot just disappear. So if this worked, wouldn't that basically give us unlimited energy? The problem is that the universe does not let energy transform however we want. The universe tends toward increasing entropy. Energy conversion has direction, limits, and conditions. A second kind perpetual motion machine violates the second law of thermodynamics. So this is not a case of our technology is not advanced enough yet. It is more like the universe saying, that move is banned. Some people say perpetual motion is impossible because materials always wear down. But that misses the real point. That's like me saying I can't date 360 supermodels at the same time because my body couldn't handle it. No, my friend. The main problem is that I never had that option in the first place. Material wear is a practical issue. The fatal problem is that the principle itself does not work. The universe is unimaginably huge. We often hope that a few elegant laws can explain everything. But once we meet complex systems, humanity quickly realizes that the universe is not that easy to bargain with. The most common example is weather. Weather is a chaotic system. There are too many factors involved. Temperature, humidity, air pressure, wind speed, oceans, landforms, solar radiation, and countless tiny changes. Even one small difference can affect the final result. That's why everyone has a complicated relationship with weather forecast. The forecast says clear skies. You step outside, and the sky immediately offers you a free shower. Predicting weather is already difficult. Fully controlling it is on another level. Even cloud seeding cannot make rain appear from nowhere. The right cloud conditions must already exist. You cannot wave your hand at a perfectly clear sky and say, "Rain now." The universe will not obey. The universe will simply appreciate your confidence. If humans could one day control the weather perfectly, that would mean we had truly mastered chaotic systems. And at that point, using it just to make rain would almost be a waste. Because the movement of every particle in the universe can also be seen as one gigantic complex system. If you could fully understand and control all of that, you would basically control the fate of the universe. But then we hit the same question again. Can a life form inside the universe completely step outside it, and then change the rules from the outside? That's like a character on television crawling out of the screen and turning off the TV. Unless this is no longer science fiction, but a horror movie. So some technologies are not guaranteed to appear just because civilization advances far enough. Some of them may require us to stand shoulder to shoulder with the universe itself. Or maybe even stand outside the universe. And that might simply be impossible. But in my opinion, the hardest problem is not any of these. The hardest problem is wanting everything at once. In microeconomics, there is a very simple idea. When you choose one thing, you usually give up something else. That is opportunity cost. The hardest choices are not between good and bad. If one option is $100 million and the other option is a glowing pile of radioactive garbage, that's not really a choice. Most people know what to pick. The real problem is when both options are valuable, but you can only choose one. Freedom and security. Efficiency and fairness. Privacy and convenience. Long life and quality of life. Exploring space and protecting Earth. Technological progress and keeping humanity under control. That is where things get difficult. Technology can solve many problems, but it cannot always save us from trade-offs. If you want absolute security, you may lose freedom. If you want absolute efficiency, you may lose fairness. If you want total control over the world, you may lose the complexity and possibility that make the world alive in the first place. So the real question for humanity's future may not be, can we do it? It may be, if we can do it, what will it cost? The technological explosion really did lift humanity off the ground. We learned to fly. We left Earth. We touched the moon. But no matter how powerful technology becomes, it may never turn us into administrators of the universe. Some doors are simply not open yet, and some doors may not have handles at all. So even though humans are constantly researching, inventing, and acting like we are about to become all-powerful, the truth may be much funnier. Deep down, we might still be small monkeys who only recently learned how to use fire. It's just that now, the fire in our hands is no longer a campfire. It's a rocket engine. And honestly, that is already terrifying enough. Alright, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Making these videos takes time, so if you enjoyed it, please hit like, subscribe, and support the channel. I'll see you in the next one.